Yo YouTube! This is my video for Friday the 17th of January. It's been a late start this morning. I didn't win anything yesterday afternoon for this morning. I was looking for jobs from 8 o'clock on the CX app, and I bid on a few things that were local, but I wasn't able to win anything at the prices I was prepared to do the jobs for. A regular job, which if you're in Peterborough or the surrounding area, you'll probably have seen every Friday, goes from Peterborough to Ilkeston. It's a small van job. It's doing some samples, taking some samples. It's with a very good shipper who I like a lot, and so I've never been quite sure what price they want to sell it for. I know vaguely the range that they would sell it for, but I tend to go a bit higher than that. But today I thought I would go in at a price that I was pretty confident I would get it for, and I did get it. And I won the job at around about 9:30, and it was a pickup from 11 o'clock in Peterborough going to Ilkeston. So it was a later start for a small, really quite a small short job journey, which is different to what I usually do. But I felt that I didn't have much choice. There wasn't a lot of long distance work available that I was winning. So I did this job for two reasons. One was to get a job in the bag, so that I had something concrete to focus my day on. And it was only £65 that I got for this job. And the second reason is it gets me into an area which I think will be moderately better to get work from, but I don't believe I'm going to be able to do my usual tactic of going a long distance and then sort of working my way back, or just doing long distance and dead man it back, because I'll be at the point of delivery around about 12:30, 1 o'clock, so half the day will have gone. So really I was thinking as a secondary tactic, let's just do small jobs, short jobs today, see if that works out. And if that ends up not being successful, then I think so be it today. I don't think I've got an awful lot of choice. So I'm expecting, my expectation today is that I'm going to have a frustrating day trying to do short jobs. But that's vaguely my plan, not to go too far away from home. And what that will mean is I will probably end up earning less money, and I'll probably having a shorter day, a much shorter day. But I'm going to give it a bit of a try and see what happens. I don't really know in this climate how to price minimum price jobs and win them. So that'd be a bit of an experiment. I tend to go £50, but I know that's not necessarily going to win jobs. So I might need to experiment with much cheaper than that and see how it feels and how it works out as a day. So in terms of the job itself, I'm 23 miles away from the pickup. It's about 40 minutes drive, and I'm going to arrive at about 20 minutes early, about 20 to 11. So I think they'll be ready by then. And the job itself is a small van job going 73 miles loaded. So really, my job today, that job has just paid for my fuel for the day, that first job. So now I've got to find jobs to pay for my business costs, then anything beyond that will be my money. I need about £80, £80 to £90 to pay for my business costs. So that's probably one or two, it's probably a couple of small jobs, and then what happens after that is my money, which is going to be not very much time after that. So today could well be just a breaking even day, So yeah, that's what I'm expecting. I went to see a doctor on Wednesday about my back, and the outcome of that is, providing I lose some weight, they are going to put me on the list for the operation. And I need to lose around about 2 stone, which the weight I'm at now is going to be very achievable. So I've got a focus now, I've got a reason to lose the weight, and so the quicker I lose 2 stone, the quicker I get the operation, the quicker I'm back to feeling a bit more normal. And that is my number one health issue at the moment, is the fact that I can't really do anything that I used to do mobility wise. I have applied for and been accepted to receive a blue badge. Those of you that don't know what a blue badge is, it's just a county council issued sort of ID that allows one to park in disabled bays in parking. So when I'm doing my work or parking for the shopping, by having the blue badge available, it's going to make my life just a little bit easier. And the number of times I wanted to park in disabled bays when I was delivering, well, it was quite a lot. So I think it's going to be very useful and very necessary to have that badge. To be honest, I'm really glad that I'm getting the badge. I do definitely need it, but I'm looking forward to the day where I can say I don't need it anymore. And if that's in 6 months' time, that'd be brilliant. And I would really cherish the idea that I can say to them, you can have it back now. That's my aim for this year, is to say I don't need that badge anymore. It took a lot to get it, it's not easy, but it's needed. Anyway, I shall let you know how my day goes. Right, update time. So I dropped off my load in Ilkeston at 1:10. I was offside at 1:10, and then I was bidding on a few jobs. A few suitable jobs were available for me. I avoided the job going to Sunderland. I avoided the job going to London, and in the end I got a job at 1:25, which was picking up from Alfreton and delivering to the Birmingham airport, with one intermediary stop in between to get documentation. And so I was, at that point that I left at 1:25, I was half an hour away from a pickup, and it was 19 miles to get there. And the load itself is for a small van job. It's 60 miles loaded, with the stop just before the airport to get paperwork. It's an extra stop in, and I got that for £75, which means that with my job this morning and my job that I'm doing right now, I've made enough money to cover my costs for the day. I just need now to get a third job to give me some income. So at the moment, it's now just gone 2 o'clock. I've just picked up the load from Alfreton. It's 2 o'clock now, and I feel that I'm going to be finished and offloaded by about 3:30ish, maybe a bit later. And so I've got a good hour to try and get a job from the West Midlands heading towards my home. So it's all still to play for in terms of how today's going to go. My gut feeling is I'll end up with a small amount of income today, perhaps £60–70, not very much more than that. I'm debating whether I'm prepared to do a long night, so for example, if a job came up from Birmingham to Southampton, would I take it? And probably the answer is no, not tonight. I don't think I'm in the right frame of mind to do a long day, and that would just be a bit pointless. I think today I'd rather just do the best I can and get home, at a reasonable hour. I'm not expecting to make a lot today. This week won't have been that impressive. I've only worked 2 days this week, and I had a late start today. So so it is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of today. I'm going to be interested to see what sort of work is there from the West Midlands back towards Lincolnshire, Norfolk, East Midlands in the evening, on the afternoon of a Friday. And I suspect there'll be some options. I know there is a job that's reasonably regular that goes somewhere from the West Midlands to King's Lynn. I've done that before. There's another job that goes from Kingstonford across to sort of Peterborough way. So they could be, if I'm in the right area at the right time, they could be good. So there's some opportunities there for me. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, just a quick update. I haven't yet got my third job of the day. It's now 4:20. I arrived at the airport and dropped off my load at, it must have been about 4 o'clock, just before 4 o'clock, maybe 4:05 when I finished. I had to wait for a bit of time. I then went to a local garage to fill it with fuel, and then I sort of brought myself out towards the outside of the ring of the M42, just looking for jobs on the way. I wanted to try and avoid going into Birmingham or into London from this point. There's not an awful lot of jobs, I must say. I've been putting bids on the jobs of about £50 for sort of 20-30 miles for small van jobs. I am actually about half an hour away from most of them. None of them are very close to me. At the moment I've stopped. I've found a safe place to stop, and I'm pretty close to Solihull. I'm pretty close to Coventry. Just looking around, I've got Tamworth is doable, Nuneaton, Leamington Spa, Redditch might be an interesting one. Don't know how far away that is with the traffic. And I could go as far as Rugby quite easily. Maybe even Leicester if we get the right job. Colville, Burton-on-Trent. So I'm going to stick at the moment to looking at jobs to the east of Birmingham rather than trying to get to the west side. I think it'd just be a nightmare trying to get through the traffic at this time of day. And I'm going to hope that something comes up that I'm close enough to. There's much less drivers in my part of the world than going towards Birmingham, so I'm hoping that might just give me a slight edge when it comes to any jobs that are coming up. But at the moment all the jobs coming up are quite short distances. There's a job that I've been on going from, I think, Rugby to Wellingborough. There's another one going from I think it was Warwick to Tamworth, which I didn't get. Another one going from Warwick to Milton Keynes, which I didn't get. So yeah, I'm not expecting to get anything. I'm going to stick around for another half an hour or so, but at the very least I'm not that far from home. Let's just see. I'm going to put in the sat nav now how far away from home I am. It tells me that I am 88 miles from home, 2 hours away. And if I just check how far away from my mum's house I am, because I could pop in there. So from where I am, it's 45 minutes, 28 miles. But it's in the opposite direction, unfortunately. So it'll be going back 45 minutes on myself. And that's probably not something I'm going to do at the moment. So I'm going to sit here for a bit and try and find a job, and then I'll let you know how it goes. If I just go home, I'll break even in terms of business costs. I won't make any money in terms of my income. But I did think that might have been a possibility. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Cheers! Right, interesting development. It's now 10 to 5. I've just been given a job. They didn't call me, just put it straight through. I'm 10 minutes or 4 miles away from the pickup to I think it's a B36 postcode. And I'm taking a small van load to Telford, which is the other side of Birmingham. And it is 42 loaded miles, and I got this job for £50, 50. So I've got no idea what it is because they didn't call me, but it's a small van job. What could go wrong? Oh dear. So yes, that's going to make, I mean, basically I'm going to make £50 today, unless I get a fourth job. But it's better. I'd rather do this than mine at home. I'd rather make a little bit of money. It all adds up, doesn't it, in the end? So yeah, I'm happy with this. Yeah, I am happy, considering it could have been very difficult to get any kind of job. So let's see how this goes, and I'm still sort of hoping I might get a job from west of Birmingham around to sort of my area of the country. I'm still thinking it's a possibility after I've done this job. So let's find out together. Cheers. I've just delivered that item for the third job of my day. It's now 10 to 7 in the evening. Unfortunately, as I was delivering it, I got stuck in traffic on the M6, which was to be expected on my way to Telford. But as I was stuck there, the shipper called me and asked if I would send the parcel direct to the customer, which involved going an extra 19 miles or 18 miles. But it involved going extra 18 miles in the wrong direction from my home. So I agreed to do it for £20 extra, and I've just dropped that off. I've ended up a long way from home. It's 2 3/4 hours now to get home, as opposed to when I was, after my second stop, I was waiting there by the M42. That was about, I think it was about an hour and a half, hour and 3/4. So I'm an extra hour away from home, and I'm also 142 miles away from home, as opposed to 88 miles. And all of that, so the time has gone up, distance has gone up, and obviously the miles have gone up. All of that was for an extra £70, 70. Now, do I feel it was worth it? I must say that right now, as I sit here, coming back home at 7 o'clock, due to be home in 3 hours, I don't think it was worth it. Would I have taken the job if I'd known it was going to Shrewsbury? No, that is definitely the case. But I couldn't really say no to doing the job a bit further. I probably should have asked for a bit more money, maybe, in hindsight, maybe £30. But it's all kind of, it's okay. It's okay. The downside of this is that today has been quite a long day. It's going to I've made a bit of money, but not very much, but I have sort of made the day quite a long day and a lot of mileage. But I do think about this in terms of the month of January, and I'm thinking just another day where I've done okay on a January day. And when I add together all of these days I'm doing at the end of the month, I think it might feel like it was worth the effort, but not necessarily right now today, but over the course of the whole month. I think that's what I'm expecting to find. So I'm heading back home now. I haven't done the stats yet, well, not well enough for me to say them out loud. What I'll do is I'll keep heading home. I'll take a quick break at some point and do the stats, and then I'll do that towards the last hour or half an hour of my journey. And in the interim, I may get a job as I pass Birmingham. It's unlikely, I think, at this time of the night, but it could happen. And obviously, if it does happen, if there's a job going from this area to the east of the country, it's highly unlikely I'm going to have much competition to do it. So there is still something to play for, but I'm going to assume at this point I'm just going to go all the way home, and that'll be it. That'll be my week and my day. I haven't got a job booked in for Monday yet. I don't think I'm going to now. I have got a bid on, but it's been on for ages. It's only a small job, so I'll probably have to do bidding in the morning on Monday. And my next day at work is Monday, obviously. I'm not sure how much I'm going to work in the last week of January because partner's off work for a week. So next week might be my last week of working in January. But so far, it's been alright. I think what might make it easier for me in January than perhaps a lot of people is that I haven't had to change very much about my tactics. I have to kind of struggle, in inverted commas, most days to make the money I want to make. And it hasn't been any extra struggle to make the money I've made in January. So it just might be that actually it's the same for me, from my area, than it is other. I don't notice much difference between now and October, November. It seems to be exactly the same to me. So yeah, I'll leave that with you, and maybe I will talk to you about at 2 hours or so. On the way back from Shrewsbury to home, there was some work that I could have done, but I didn't want to go to Peterlee, I didn't want to go to Halifax, and I didn't want to go to the north of Scotland, Lossiemouth, that was it. I didn't want to go to Lossiemouth, and they would have been perfect for me if I was just starting my day, or at the end, or trying to have a tramping out day. But as I've got to get home, I couldn't do those works. So unfortunately, there wasn't a job going east from the West Midlands when I was there, sort of between Shrewsbury, Telford, Birmingham. There was nothing, unfortunately, going east today. And I'll just finish off this bit by saying, it might sound to you guys that I'm always saying I'm being overly optimistic about getting a job back at the end of the day, because to some extent I am, but I'm doing this because the one day that I do get that job that's going close to my home, I don't want you to say, oh, you're so lucky, because in my view, you do this day in, day out, and the more you do it, the more you look for those jobs going back to your home area, the more chance you've got of getting one. And it's not about luck, it's about just the number of times you try, eventually you will succeed. That's what I think anyway. So my stats for today, I'm basing my fuel on 15.87 pence per mile. And I've driven today 393 miles. 393. By the time I get home, I will have worked for 12 and a quarter hours today. And gross from 3 CX jobs, I've earned £210. 210. My fuel costs for today are £62.37. So £62, rounding it down a bit. And that means that I've made today, after fuel, £148. And here are my stats for the week, which is only 2 days' work. It's hardly really a week's work. So over those 2 days, the Monday and the Friday that I've worked this week, I did a total of 29 and a quarter hours. I drove a total of 950 miles, 950. I earned from the the 2 days, a total gross earnings of £520, 520. I'd spent £145.96 on fuel, so effectively £146, which means that my net earnings this week after fuel taken into account is £374, 374. My efficiency was low again, so I've earned 39.37 pence for every mile that I've driven this week, and my average amount earned after fuel is £187 this week, and actually I'm okay with that. That's not too bad. It's not quite the 200 that I'd really ideally like to earn, but it's close enough to feel that it's been worth going out this week. And then finally, my hourly rate after taking into account fuel and business costs this week is £7.32. A fresh start next week, a full 3-day week, and we'll see whether I can maintain a reasonable, my reasonable outcomes so far in the first 2 weeks of January. Okay, I'm going to bring this video to a close now. So I'm just going to say thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you are all being successful, however you choose to define that word for yourselves. Okay, see you on Monday. Farewell, friends.